Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting and analyzing to Clamavi de Profundis. This is my first time ever hearing this group, which is shocking as a bass singer. People have told me for years to check them out, and I finally am, and giving you guys a first time viewing as well. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. Guys, before we get into it, I have to talk about my super exciting partnership with a company called TuneLark. TuneLark is a music education technology company that offers virtual one-on-one lessons with expert instructors. TuneLark's mission is to empower music educators and instructors to make learning music more fun, accessible, and effective. Why I'm so excited about this brand is that their mission is so in line with my channel. When their CEO reached out to me, I could not believe it. We had a one-on-one conversation. He took me through the whole online platform. I vetted it and I said, this is absolutely the kind of company that I want to be representing on my channel. Music brings people joy, guys. Music is good for the body, the mind, and the soul. With this company, you can learn from expert instructors wherever you are. You don't have to haul your instrument across town to go sit in somebody's living room. You can do it from home, and there's a lot of research coming out that shows the effectiveness of online learning from the comfort of your own area. This is going to save parents time driving back and forth across town. It's going to save gas money. This is going to save the worry that you are dropping your kid off at a stranger's house that you don't know. It's safer, it's effective, and the whole method in which they teach is geared around games and having fun as a way to learn. Seriously, guys, I am so pumped about this partnership. It's amazing. I fully support this company. I think it has major legs to grow and be huge in the world of music education. Absolutely thrilled. By supporting them, you support me. By supporting me, you support them. Please check out the links in the description below and go sign up for a lesson with TuneLark. Whether you want to learn how to sing, whether you want to learn how to compose, whether you want to learn how to play guitar, it is all available and there are expert instructors for everything. Go check it out. All right, y'all, let's check out Song of Durin from Clamavi de Profundis. Make sure I can read this. They say also that the 7 fathers of the dwarves returned to live again in their own kin and to bear once more their ancient names, of whom Durin was the most renowned, the Silmarillion.
The mountains green, no stain yet on the moon was seen.
All right, so we're in B flat minor in this key here. We have this nice introduction just on mms. This is a great way to blend. This is such a great way to start an a cappella piece, chamber choir piece. It allows so much room for a song to build and grow. And it also blends really nicely. Mms, oohs, those kind of more closed mouth position or SOVT, semi-occluded vocal tract positions, blend really nicely. So it's a great place to start, and boy, I love a big male choir. Let's go.
The world was young, the mountains green, no stain yet on the moon was seen.
Moon was seen. So down to an F2 here from our soloist. Sounds like a baritone. Baritone soloist can touch down to the F2, but definitely losing some power and resonance when they get down there. But also a nice approach to this first line, right? You don't want to come out of the gate belting. This is supposed to be intimate to start out, so the singer is going to allow a little bit of breathiness, allow a bit of a softer approach, especially given that it's in that low to low middle part of the range.
The world was young, the mountains green, no stain yet on
like the flipped R's. Durin, Durin. Woke and walked stream, stream or stone. All right, this is that. It actually sounds a lot like how the dwarven characters, their accents from the actual movie. It's like a bit Scottish. Stream or stone, really nice. And yeah, again, just this nice, easy approach with these mms in the background. It's just a beautiful, intimate, soft place to start this piece. And it is beautiful music, truly.
Led on stream or stone when Durin woke and walked alone. He named the nameless hills and dells. He drank from yet untasted wells.
What I love about this, these voices are all so real. Like they're not, like this sounds like, and don't take this the wrong way, but this sounds like normal people who can sing well. Like just like a voice, like if you met a guy in a pub who had a nice voice, who's just had a nice voice his whole life, who could always sing in tune. It's like that. It's not like this very polished, big, well-trained instrument. It's just like, and I love the simplicity of it. And it's actually so much more real for this song and what this song means, and in the whole context of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and just how this is how it would be, right? You have a bunch of dwarven warriors, right? If some of them just happen to know how to sing, they might sound like this. They're not going to sound like, when Durin woke and walked alone. Like that would just be completely unreasonable for just some person to just bust out with like perfect technique. So I actually really like how, I'm just going to use the word normal, how like normal they sound as far as singing goes. I think there's actually something really special about that. And I'm also sure because of this being the piece they're covering, I'm sure they're kind of leaning into that more. Like I'm sure if they wanted to, they could recruit more of the kind of training and technique in there. But I think it's such a nice approach to this song.
He named the nameless hills and dells. He drank from yet untasted wells. He stooped and looked in mirror, and saw a crown of stars appear.
So I would have guessed baritone for that voice, but he sang pretty darn. I guess up to an F4. No, that's yeah, baritone, tenor range. Yeah, again, just another voice where it's like, it just sounds like a normal person that can sing. It doesn't sound like someone who has trained their whole life to be a singer. And I think that's really special. I think that's really nice. You don't generally hear that very often, that kind of thing.
Mirror, and saw a crown of stars appear, as gems upon a silver thread, above the shadows of his head.
So still very much baritonal. Shadows. You can hear how it gets pretty soft on there, sort of like shadows on his head. It doesn't really open up how a bass voice does, going down to an F. F is a good place for a bass voice to be pretty thick, a low bass voice. And it's kind of bottoming out down there. So baritone so far. I don't know what the group is. I don't know if there are low basses in the group. Again, this is my first time hearing them.
Of the shadows of his head, the world was fair, the mountains tall, in elder days before the fall.
A little bit more resonance on that low F. I would guess this is one of the basses of the group. Still a very light approach, right? It's not like he starts singing and you're like, whoa, that's a bass. But basses, there are a lot of things that go into classifying voice type, right? If you are outside of the opera world, the most important thing by far is range. by far. Because if you're in a choir like this, yes, color is important, but you need someone that can hit the notes. If you have someone in a choir and they've got a B flat 1, no choir director in the world would put them on anything but bass 2 because it's so rare that someone has a B flat 1. They might sound like, they might have the lightest bass voice in the world. It might not be dark, it might not be powerful. If they've got a B flat 1, they are singing bass 2 every single time. So, blending is what's most important in a choir. It's not the solo voices. It's can you make a cohesive, beautiful, blended sound? Can you sight read? These are things that, can you listen well with your compatriots? That's the whole game of being in a choir. It's not about who has the best solo voice. I know plenty of, amazing opera singers that did not do well in choir when they were doing choirs earlier in their education. It's a whole different thing, whole different skill set. So if you have a choir and the soloists from the choir are singing, it's likely they're not going to have these big, amazing voices, but they're probably phenomenal as choir singers. So, interesting. So I think this guy's probably one of their basses. It sounds like that F is quite easy for him, even if he doesn't come out with a big, woofy, dark sound like you might expect from a bass voice.
Days before
the fall. Yeah, like not a low bass, but probably often sing, like if he's got an F like that, means he can probably get down to like a D. And if you've got a bass with a D, a low D, that's great. That's really great in a choir to have a bass with a reliable low D.
In elder days before the fall of mighty kings in Argo throned and gondolin, who now beyond.
There was something low happening there.
Who now beyond. Gondolin, who now.
I think there's a C sharp 2 in the background, so that's definitely a bass.
Throned and gondolin, who now beyond. The western seas have passed away. The world was fair in Durin's day. A king he was on carven throne in many pillared halls of stone.
Interesting. I mean, we were in 4/4. We were in duple meter for the first 2 minutes of this song, but now it's in triple. King da 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 da. We've gone into triple. The vowels have opened up in the background, right? They went from ms, now they're going to like ahs, which again, that's one way to rev up intensity in sound. That's exciting. And we've got drums. So we've got change of meter from duple to triple. We've got opening up the vowels in the background, and we've got drums, and we've got just more power and intensity going.
A king he was,
and multiple people singing the solo.
in many pillared halls of stone, with golden roof and silver floor, and runes of power upon the door. The light of sun and star and moon, shining lamps of crystal hue.
Stop. It's up to that high F again. I think that's the highest we've gone in the solo line. It sounds like there's some higher parts happening in the ensemble.
Shining lamps of crystal hue.
At least a high C sharp 5 in falsetto there in the background.
Shining lamps of crystal hue. Undimmed by cloud or shade of.
Undimmed, not undimmed. Undimmed by cloud. That's interesting.
Undimmed by cloud or shade of night, there shone forever fair and bright.
These background parts would be very hard to memorize if they do this in performances. I don't know if they perform. They probably do. If it's a popular choir, most choirs perform. It definitely doesn't seem like a virtual based sound, especially if they don't even have a music video. It's just this cool graphic. Very hard to memorize these background parts because it's just vowels. Oohs, ohs, ahs changing for the whole song. Very, very difficult to memorize that kind of thing. Lyrics help a lot to memorize, and, you know, catchy melodies help a lot to memorize. This is just like, almost just like block chords with some movement, just on different vowels. Absolutely brutal to memorize this kind of thing.
The hammer on the hand.
There's a bass.
The hammer.
E flat. The hammer on.
The hammer on the anvil smote.
Smooth. Okay, C sharp 2. I figured there were some basses in this group. There's your bass down to a C sharp 2. But very reasonable.
The hammer on the anvil smote.
Their chisel clove and graver wrote.
There forged was blade and bound was hilt. The delver mined, the mason built.
It's also fun to hear. I mean, their voices are so different. And again, that's something that's so interesting about choir. You have all these radically different solo voices, right? You can hear them. They sound so different when they're each singing. But then together, they come and make this beautiful blended sound. And another way that's helpful is just number of voices help to blend the sound, because you have so much variety that there becomes a kind of homogeny in it. And the closed vowels help a lot too, like on an it's very tough to tell the difference between one voice to the next if they're similar range. But it's just cool to hear that because they have this beautiful blend in the background, but all the soloists sound so different.
The delver mined, the mason built. The barrel and noble pale and metal wrought, like fishes' mail, buckler and corslet, axe and sword, and shining spears were laid in wood.
I think there's a B flat on there. Laid in hoard. It sounds like it. So I think someone got their way down to a B flat. Yeah, it's like on the fence of chesty, kind of fry-y a little bit, I think. But hey, let's go. B flat 1. That's what I was hoping for. Alien cadence. Ba 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 ba.
Wearied then were Durin's folk beneath the mountains' music woke.
The harper's harps, the minstrels sang, and at the gates the trumpets rang.
Something they do is they really get off the vowels quickly in this. So instead of singing, harpers harped, the minstrels sang, it's minstrels. So instead of minstrels, where they linger on the vowel to get more tone, it's minstrels. They go straight from one consonant to the next. Same thing happens in the next line.
Harper's harps, the minstrels sang, and
He goes, trumpets, trumpets, instead of trumpets rang. Trumpets rang, trumpets rang. It's interesting. It's more of like a text-driven thing, right? They're trying to really bring out all the text, all the consonants, and make that clear, as opposed to like having these big, sweeping legato vocal lines.
at the gates the trumpets rang.
Rang.
The world is grey, the mountains old.
Mountains, mountains, instead of mountains old, mountains old.
The world is grey, the mountains old, the forge's fire is ashen cold. No harp is rung, no hammer falls, the darkness dwells in Durin's halls.
Yeah, it just sound like even like all their consonants aren't necessarily lining up. I mean, this really sounds like it's just like a group of guys that can sing well, and they're just singing. And there's something so wonderful about that.
No hammer falls, the darkness dwells in.
Like the S's in the end of darkness, they're all cutting off at different times, right?
No hammer falls, the darkness dwells in Durin's halls. The shadow lies upon his tomb, Moria in casa doom, but still the sunken stars appear.
So we have a lot of still happening in the background, and we do have some people harmonizing as well. So we have both and harmonies singing the text, both happening in the background.
The sunken stars appear in dark and windless pyramid. There lies his crown in water deep, till Durin
Give me the B flat.
wakes again from sleep.
Yes, let's go. And also it makes that low B flat at the end so much more epic when you've been waiting for it. I think we got a softer one earlier. We did not get a beefy one like that. That was a very chesty, also on an eval too. Sleep. That's a very nice low B flat at the end. And so if that guy is in your choir, no matter how dark or big his voice is, he's singing the B flat. He's on bass too, every single time. In opera, it's different. In opera, you have to consider size of voice, where the voice sits really comfortably. How does the voice compete with an orchestra? Can the voice fill a big space? What's the vocal fold closure? How long is the role they're singing? How much big singing is there? Where do the big parts sit in the voice? Where do the low parts sit in the voice? Where does the voice bloom? Where are the passaggi? Does the voice sound like it's fitting for the character? There are a million considerations that go into getting the really specific proper voice type, which is called a Fach, F-A-C-H, of the German Fach vocal classification system. There's so many things that matter, far beyond range, and it's more than just one thing. For choir, the guy with the low B flat is singing the bass too. Period. Period.
Wakes again from sleep.
And I've been practicing my subs. Guys, I hope you enjoyed my first take on Clamavi de Profundis. This is really wonderful, and there was so much interesting things watching this video that I haven't heard before. I love the kind of folk singer vibe, where it's not a very polished instrument. It's just like a group of guys that they can all sing in tune, and they sound beautiful blending, and they sing this awesome, fantasy-based music. A+ in my book. Guys, go check out TuneLark as well. Check out that company. You support me, you support them, support me. If you want to learn any lessons with any instrument, voice, composition, film scoring, their expert instructors are ready to help. So check out the links below and leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and hope to see you over there on Patreon if I enhanced your Clamavi de Profundis experience. See you next time.